like me and you get on Instagram, you are probably bombarded with videos of people showing how they were making drops of milk and then 3 weeks later we're making 100 ounces in a day. And I'm not exaggerating, I see that all the time. You might see these videos and wonder, I wonder if this really works. I've tracked down all of those viral tips out there, and I'm going to go through them one by one in this video to tell you which ones are legit and which ones you can probably skip over. But before we get started, if you're interested in learning even more about milk supply, be sure to sign up for my free workshop, 5 ways you might be sabotaging your milk supply, in the video description below. It has so much great information about little things hurting milk supply that people don't even realize they're doing. Now let's dive into all of these tips out there. First, Oreos. This is one of the most popular tips out there. I've been running a Facebook group for years, and without doubt, every time someone asks how to increase their milk supply, the first or second comment is always about Oreos. I even believed this myself a long time ago before I was a lactation consultant, and while I wish that going to the store to buy some Oreos was going to increase your supply, it really does not have any basis behind it. Some people will say it's because there's lecithin in it, which sometimes we find people use to increase milk supply. But honestly, there's such a minuscule amount that it really is not going to make a huge impact. Oreo cookies also have a lot of sugar, so if you are having any type of insulin resistance at all, it may have the opposite effect and decrease your milk supply. With that said, some people swear by it, and I truly believe that the biggest reason why you may see an increase in milk supply if you were to eat Oreo cookies is because of the sheer amount of calories that you're eating. So you don't need to get my permission to eat a cookie, but don't assume that this is going to be the answer to all of your milk supply issues. Another really fun one is blue Gatorade. I actually have done some surveys on this. I'll put a link in the description below to an article I wrote about it. But blue Gatorade really isn't going to increase your milk supply. People swear that it's the blue color. I don't know why. Yes, I do think that electrolytes can sometimes help milk supply and to help hydrate you better, which when you're hydrated, it helps you to be a little bit more energetic, which leads to better nursing and pumping in my experience. However, I don't think it's the Gatorade, and especially not the blue color alone, that makes the difference. Drink electrolytes, drink a Gatorade, drink a Body Armor, go get some better quality electrolytes, which is what my preference is. I'll link some below that I think are really great. But at the end of the day, yes, hydration and electrolytes matter, but it's not about the color. And again, some Gatorade has so much sugar in it that it may have the opposite effect if you're dealing with insulin resistance, which a lot of people don't even realize they are. We're going to talk about more cookies now. Lactation cookies. These are so popular. There are so many companies out there that are totally dedicated to selling and making lactation cookies, lactation brownies. You can walk into Target and buy a pack right now. Lactation cookies might have a little bit more leg to stand on than Oreos because they do incorporate galactogogues such as oats or brewer's yeast. However, a lot of them are just filled with sugar, which may lead to a decrease in milk supply. As with everything else, I think that the increase in calories may actually be the driver of any increase you might see with these items. I would recommend making your own though, so you can control the ingredients and the sugar a little bit better. There was some research done on lactation cookies, and they found that there really was not a discernible difference between those people that had lactation cookies and those that didn't. But of course, it's just one study, and if you want a cookie, just eat the cookie. This next one has been totally viral on TikTok and Instagram recently, and it's called slutty pumping. I'll leave that up to the imagination, but essentially it's where if you get an orgasm, people find that if they pump during or immediately after, they will see a huge increase in milk supply. I do think that there is some truth behind this because of the oxytocin that is released during this process. So you can definitely try it out if you want, but if the thought of that makes you cringe, which to me it absolutely does, then skip it. But I have seen people produce a lot of milk after doing this, and so might be worth a try for those of you that really want to increase your milk supply. One tip I saw recently was that you should power pump 3 to 4 times a day. I'm a big fan of power pumping, but I find that if you're doing it that much, it is truly overkill. It's going to lead to pumping exhaustion, probably increase your stress in your life, and that will often lead to decreasing milk supply. I also think that much power pumping, especially in addition to nursing and regular pumping, might increase damage to your breasts, especially if your pumping techniques are subpar or not working as effectively as you want them to. One time a day, especially early in the morning, is going to be just perfect. So don't feel like you have to power pump all day long because that is exhausting. The next one, drink tons and tons of water, especially coconut water. Now, coconut water does have electrolytes in it, so I do think that it might be a little more beneficial than just plain old water, but you do not need to be drinking gallons of water and waterboarding yourself throughout the day. There's not a lot of research on this, but the older research actually showed that too much water led to a decrease in milk supply. You really just need to drink to thirst plus a little bit more, because I know that sometimes we forget that we're thirsty. So just try and make sure that you're drinking around 8 cups, 64 ounces in 24 hours, and that will help to hydrate you. But I would say overall, drinking gallons and gallons of water is not really true or accurate for increasing your milk supply. If anything, it might just make you feel better, so you want to pump more. Next, oats are magic. Put oats in everything. Put it in your smoothie, put it in your oatmeal, put it in your cookies, put it in everything you eat, because oats are amazing. Oats are a galactagogue. They contain beta-glucans, which can increase prolactin. I wouldn't say that this is going to be the best solution for everybody, but it's definitely not going to hurt. And I feel like I have seen oats have a positive impact on people's milk supply. Again, it goes back to that there are galactagogues that I do believe can help support milk supply when everything else is working the way it should. With any foods, I would not consider it a home run or a magic secret if you aren't pumping or nursing regularly. Those things need to be happening in order for galactagogues to work as well as possible. Do lots of skin to skin with your baby. Absolutely. This helps to increase the oxytocin that you're producing, which in turn can increase your milk supply. So I always recommend doing skin to skin as much as you possibly can, especially if you are pumping a lot more, because sometimes people find that they feel a little disconnected from their baby when they're pumping. And so doing some skin to skin before you pump can make a huge difference. Next is rest as much as possible, which I'm sure some of you are laughing, like, how do I rest with a baby? But yes, rest is important. I have worked with moms that are like, I'm pumping 3 times a night. I'm so exhausted. I feel like I'm not seeing an improvement. With those moms, we have adjusted and made sure that they are getting rest, good quality rest, and they saw a positive increase in their milk supply. So resting, not necessarily sleeping, but giving yourself permission to rest is really important. And I do find that it can lead to less stress and better milk supply. Try a different pump. Yes, this can make a huge difference. Not all pumps are created equally. There are some really terrible pumps out there, and you want to make sure that you are using a pump that works best with your body. Even with the Spectra, which I love, I find some women don't respond to it because of the vibration pattern. This isn't always happening, but if you are like, this pump is not responding, especially if you respond to hand expression or a manual pump, you may want to try another pump. I really like the Spectra Baby Buddha pumpable. There's one called the Opera, which is awesome. Just try different pumps. I have lots in my office, so I always let people try them out if they want to try something new. But if your pump isn't working for you, see if there's another option that will work better. And sometimes, yes, people respond better to manual breast pumps, so don't count those one out. They can be super powerful. I especially love the Medela Harmony, which I will link below as well. Next, don't stop after the milk stops flowing. Absolutely, especially if you have just had one letdown of milk. You should probably continue going for 2 to 3. That is usually what I recommend, is that you pump until your milk starts to flow, and when it stops, turn back to the letdown mode or the stimulation mode until your milk starts flowing again. Most women should be able to get 2 to 3 letdowns in about a 20-minute period. And so my theory is the letdown is what helps to tell your body to make more milk. So more letdowns is better. So definitely this one is true. Flange sizing, yes, the right size flange makes a huge difference. I will say there are women out there that can pump with every single size and be able to produce copious amounts of milk no matter what their flange size is. I don't know what the difference is between women that have to have the perfect flange size to have the best milk output, but for most women, having that right flange size can make a huge difference. And yes, that is probably not the 24 that came with your pump. I have not fit a single 24 in the last year, and I have fit just 121. The vast majority of women are around 15 millimeters in my experience. You can check out my other videos about the research that supports this, but it can be a total game changer. So make sure you have that right size flange. Heat before pumping. Yes, this can make a big difference. I have had a lot of moms say that this makes a huge difference for their milk supply. Just throw on a heating pad, the Lancinol TheraPearls, whatever feels comfortable for 5 to 10 minutes before you pump. And I find that it just essentially primes the pump and helps milk to flow more easily. Maybe it just makes you feel more comfortable, and so that oxytocin increases and your stress decreases. I don't know, but it does seem to work. Hands-on pumping. I love hands-on pumping. Research has shown that this can increase your milk supply up to 50% when you're pumping, and I've seen amazing results with my clients. This is essentially just gentle massage that you can do on your breast before and during pumping to help with milk flow and help you to empty your breasts more effectively. There's lots of tutorials out there. I'll probably do one sometime in the future, but just start by getting your hands on there, doing very gentle massage to help that milk to flow. I will say that having a hands-free pumping bra can make a huge difference, because otherwise you're going to be only pumping one side at a time, and that can be exhausting, having to hold the pump and massage at the same time to get the milk to come out. Along the same lines, I will often recommend to hand express a little bit after you are pumping, because this just gives your body a little bit more boost, and it gets that skin-to-skin contact, which I think can be unmatched when it comes to milk production and increasing supply and output. The next one is to have a portable pump to make pumping easier. This is a double-edged sword because wearable pumps can decrease your milk supply because they are generally not as effective as a more traditional pump like the Spectra or the Baby Buddha. With that said, any stimulation is going to be better than no stimulation at all. So having a wearable pump to do those pumping sessions when you really don't want to or you don't have the time to can make it so your supply does increase or at least stays stable. I would not recommend doing it more than a couple times a day. Try and make sure that you are using your regular pump, especially in the morning sessions. But if you just need to get that stimulation on or you want to do some power pumping, throw them on, and I do think that it can be beneficial. Just try not to rely on your wearable pump for all of your pumping sessions. Watching your baby cry is the next tip. And yes, a lot of times people just hear any baby cry and they start to leak milk. This can be especially good if you are having trouble letting down to a breast pump and you are separated from your baby. Having a video of them crying or even just a cute video of them can just help you to have those cozy feelings. I will say though that if crying stresses you out, that might decrease your oxytocin and decrease your milk output. So you just have to know your limits. Maybe just having some cute pictures and videos of your baby to look at can make a big difference. Another person suggested just increasing your oxytocin before you pump. And you might be asking, I don't even know how to do that. How do I increase my oxytocin? Essentially, anything that makes you have good, happy feelings is going to help you to increase your oxytocin. This can be anything from doing skin to skin, hand massage, eating chocolate, having shoulder, listening to music, baby cuddles, anything that makes you feel warm and cozy. Do that before you pump. If you are feeling constantly stressed before you pump or nurse, that will probably lead to a decrease in milk supply or even to a decrease in your ability to let down milk. So keep things happy and chill and cozy and warm, and that can make a big difference. The next one is oxytocin spray, and I do think that this can make a huge difference. But I would say be very careful with this and only use it if you are working with a medical provider and lactation consultant. Usually when I recommend oxytocin spray, it's for people that are truly having a difficult time letting down, especially during their menstrual cycle, where I find that for whatever reason, milk has a harder time letting down. And so oxytocin spray can be beneficial, but please don't just go out and buy it and use it willy-nilly. It needs to be used purposefully and for a very short period of time. Hot chocolate. I have been seeing this one all over Instagram lately, and everyone is swearing by hot chocolate for increasing milk supply. Some people use coconut milk or coconut oil in it, and maybe that has a marginal effect. But again, it probably goes back to the calories, it making you feel warm and cozy. And yes, sometimes some chocolate, maybe especially if it's good quality dark chocolate, may have some ingredients in it that could help support milk supply or at least your mood. So maybe that could help, but I would say just drink the hot chocolate. Sometimes the placebo effect is effective, so it's worth trying, but I wouldn't say that it is the best tip ever for increasing milk supply. And finally, not stressing about your pumping schedule and feeling like you have to do it on the dot all the time. Obviously, we don't want you to go from pumping and nursing 8 to 12 times a day just down to 3 because you're stressed out about it, because that will show you a big decrease in supply. However, giving yourself some grace and saying it's okay if I have to wait 30 minutes to pump, or if I'm not pumping every hour and a half. If you're pumping every hour and a half, I would definitely work with a lactation consultant because something is probably awry there. It's easy to feel like you have to stick to a very strict schedule, and I do think that our bodies respond to routines, but you can give yourself some breaks and don't feel like you have to stick to everything to the exact minute in order to make enough milk, whether you're pumping or nursing. I hope that this video is helpful. I had a lot of fun going through all the different tips and tricks out there that people have, and at the end of the day, if it works for you, that's great. But the most important thing to remember is that the biggest driver of milk supply is going to be supply and demand. And if you are giving that demand and you're not getting the supply that you are expecting, then you should definitely work with a lactation consultant because there is likely an underlying reason that is making it so you can't produce the amount of milk that you're expecting. I do believe that milk supply is a vital sign, and that if your body's not doing what it's supposed to, that's your body's way of telling you something is awry. Let me know if there's any other hacks or tips out there that you're curious about, and I'll be happy to answer them. And if you want to learn more about milk supply, be sure to sign up for Fuss-Free First Year, which includes my course, Fuss-Free Milk Supply. It has so many great resources on milk supply, figuring out why your milk supply is low, or just learning more about what is normal and what is not. You can check that out in the description for the video below. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.